Hi guys, and welcome back to Beauty Fortified, and in today's video I am busting 10 makeup myths for women over 50. Now, I used to think about 20 years ago when I was 30 or thereabouts, I also used to believe some of these myths, and I used to think that when I got to 40 I'm probably going to need to tone my makeup down, I'm going to have to stop wearing shimmers, I'm going to have to cut my hair short, and it's really something that actually used to depress me until I got to my 40s, and then I realized that that is just a load of rubbish. You can wear whatever you want. The things that might change are the textures of the products and the makeup that you use, because the texture of our skin does change, and things that we wore 20 years ago might not sit as well on the skin. So it's basically looking for products that have the right textures, and it's also about the strategic placement of product as we get older. So yes, I do concede that it's no longer a case of a slick of mascara, a little bit of blush and some lip gloss. We do have to work a little bit harder at it, but I'm here to bust 10 myths that absolutely do not apply. So the first myth is that less is more. And by this, I don't mean that as you get older, you need to start piling on the makeup. But as we age, our faces lose definition, our skin starts to sag, our brows become a little bit thinner, our jawlines become lax. So these are all areas that we need to look at by putting back definition, putting a little contour in, and putting more color into the face. So while you're not necessarily going to be using more foundation, you probably will be reaching for things like brow pencils, a little bit of contour, and probably a little bit more concealer than you did back in your youth. I found that in my 40s, I started using more product than I did in my 20s and 30s. I started reaching for the eye pencil, the brow pencil. I never had to define my brows. I had very thick, bushy brows. And I also started to use a little bit more contour on my cheekbone to bring my cheeks back to life, a little bit of a livelier blush, and a little bit more contrast around my jawline. So less is definitely not more. The second myth is that you need to wear a primer. Now, as we age, the texture in our skin changes, obviously. And sometimes a primer can go a long way to filling in your pores and creating a soft focus effect. But it's not an absolute must-have. And personally, I have yet to find a primer that I absolutely swear by. So I've dabbled in a few. I find the ones that are silicone-based just really don't cut it for me. They do make my makeup slide around more. So you can definitely get away without using a primer if you have got a foundation that suits your skin type. Myth number 3 is that you need to use a ton of concealer. And this is where less is more definitely comes into play. So you just need to put the tiniest amount of under eye concealer under your eyes, usually about 3 dots. And then you'll find that when you get to our age, you need to start concealing little shadows around your face, for example, around your nose, and any other little areas that you want to conceal. So as our skin does become a little bit more discolored and our sun damage starts to peek through, you may be wanting a concealer to place strategically on areas of your face just to disguise them, but you don't need a lot of concealer underneath your eyes. Myth number 4, if your foundation contains an SPF, you don't need a separate sunscreen. Now, nothing could be further from the truth. Of course, SPF is formulated specifically to protect our skin, whereas foundation is formulated to enhance and cover uneven skin tone. So the SPF in foundation will generally be very, very low down in the ingredient list. You definitely need a separate sunscreen. You're also going to be using a tiny bit of foundation versus the 1/4 teaspoon of sunscreen that you need to protect your face. So just by way of illustration, you can see here how much sunscreen you need versus how much foundation you need to cover your entire face. You definitely need a separate sunscreen. Myth number 5, matte skin or matte foundation makes you look younger. No, no, no. As we age, we lose elasticity in our skin, and with that goes a lot of luminosity. So what you want to do is bring the luminosity back to your skin, and you can do that by using a foundation with a demi-matte finish if you have normal combination skin, or with a very dewy finish if you have very dry skin. A matte foundation is just going to make you look very, very flat. So you definitely need a foundation with some light reflecting properties and a little bit of luminosity that is going to bring life and dewiness back into your skin. Myth number 6, and this is around blush. Stay away from bright blush, and this goes hand in hand with don't apply blush to the apples of your cheeks. There's nothing like blush to liven up the face. It's the perfect panacea to counteract fatigue and just to bring color back into your skin. And we do lose a lot of color with age. Blush is definitely one of those things that can add an instant youthful element to your look. So I'm all for blush. I'm a big fan of blush and definitely recommend it for duller, more mature skin. It's definitely one of the things that can make an instant difference to your complexion. Just in terms of putting it onto your cheeks, as we age, we do lose a lot of volume, and our cheeks are probably one of the first places that you'll start to see volume loss. By applying a little bit of blush in this area, we can definitely cheat that volume loss, and we can create an illusion of more fullness and more contour. Blush is definitely the way to go. Myth number 7, you can't pull off a smoky eye. You absolutely can. Ask Jane Fonda or Helen Mirren. It's often just the way that we apply the shadow and the order that we apply the shadow. And by that, I mean if you have a lot of texture on your lids, you might want to put the darkest shadow on your mobile lid and then smoke it out with a lighter crease shadow, as opposed to doing it the other way around. And that way, it's going to be a lot more forgiving if you do have lids with quite a bit of texture. So put the darkest shadow on the mobile lid and then smoke it out with a lighter transition shade. A smoky eye on somebody over 50 can be very, very sexy. Myth number 8, you can't wear shimmer eyeshadow. Well, poo to that too. Shimmer eyeshadow can actually be very, very flattering on more mature lids, and it can also detract from discoloration under your eyes. It can detract from crow's feet, and it can really make your eyes pop, and it can make them a focal point. So as long as the shimmer is not too chunky, you're going to struggle with that if you have texture on your lids. Something a little bit more metallic or a more refined shimmer will do the trick. Shimmer on mature eyes can be absolutely beautiful. Myth number 9, you can't wear bright lipstick. I don't know who came up with that one, but bright lipstick can be very, very flattering on mature lips. You don't need to stick to nudes and safe neutral colors. Brights can really liven up your face and add a beautiful pop of color. And reds can be especially flattering at this age, and especially if you have gray hair as well. If you find your right shade of red for your skin tone, it can really make all the difference. So you can definitely wear bright lipstick. And finally, myth number 10, as you get older, you need to reach for high-end makeup because those are the best formulas. Well, definitely not. Everything that I've used in this video today has been from Drugstore, including the brushes, and I will list everything down below. You don't need to spend a lot of money. If it was a toss-up between skincare and makeup at our age, I would be spending more money on skincare and less money on makeup. Stick to Drugstore. There are some fantastic Drugstore products out there, so you definitely don't need to spend a lot of money. So guys, let me know what myths you've heard and what myths you've debunked about makeup over the age of 50. I'd love to hear from you. Please leave me your comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Ciao, ciao.